Welcome to the Making of Me podcast. The guest is Bart Merrell, international entrepreneur, author of Monetize Your Mindset, and a strong voice for financial independence. Bart's journey is rooted in resilience, creativity, and learning how to create opportunity through mindset long before life challenge forces the lessons. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So, Bart, what early challenge shaped your belief in mindset and actions?
So I started out life fairly normally where I had a goal. When I was about 16 or 17, I decided I wanted to get in the FBI and chase serial killers. That was my dream job, what I wanted to do. The idea of the game of catching someone doing
Yeah.
that is trying to avoid me was just intriguing. And I went to school to get into the FBI was the easiest way was to study accounting. And I found out very quickly two things. I didn't like accounting and I wasn't very good at accounting. But it was just a means to an end. It was a path to get to where I wanted to go. And once you get in the FBI, positions come up and you apply for the position, so I wouldn't have to stay in the accounting side of things in the FBI. So that was my goal. And I had RK surgery done on my eyes to correct my vision. And after I had it done, I got back up, I got to school and was starting the application process. And I found out that automatically disqualified me from the FBI. I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do because remember, I wasn't good at accounting and I didn't like accounting. And so I fell back on what my dad taught me by example. My dad never set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business. He showed me by example. He was a pig farmer, but he wasn't just a farmer. He was an entrepreneur. He had his hands in several different businesses that were in the agricultural industry. And so I kind of fell back on what he taught me. And when opportunities came about, I jumped and I took advantage of them. And so people sometimes look at my life and they say, well, oh, you were just lucky. As we go through the show, I'm going to point out a few things that I'm not lucky. My dream job just got blown up. In the early 2000s, I lost a lot of money because of 9/11, because of the attack. And then just in 2024, I had to have my lower leg amputated. I am not lucky, but let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe I am lucky. Luck, Seneca says, luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet.
Yeah, to meet.
And you have to take action. And so anytime opportunity and preparedness meets with me, I take action. I say it like this. So when life throws you lemons, gives you lemons, you've heard that you're supposed to make lemonade.
Yeah.
I take it one step further. If you're going to make lemonade, you might as well build a lemonade stand and sell the stuff. And so whatever comes past my life or is entered into my life, good, bad, or ugly, I always ask the question, can I monetize it? And if I can, how? And that's what I've done. After my dream job was blown up, I was doing landscaping in my college town. It was my part-time job that I was doing during college. And a friend of mine who worked for a bungee jump company that sold bungee towers, he came up to me and he says, hey, do you want to go back to Japan? I'd spent a couple years in Japan, so I spoke Japanese fairly well. And he says, you want to go back to Japan? And he was joking. But I thought about it for a split second and I says, yeah. And 3 months later, I was in Japan pushing Japanese people off a bungee tower. So I jumped at the opportunity when it came about. And that's what I've continued to do throughout my life, even if I don't know what I'm getting into. When he asked me that question, would you like to go back to Japan? I had never bungee jumped.
Wow.
But I said yes. Now, I am an adrenaline junkie. I do like to do things that are dangerous. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie if I wanted to get in the FBI and chase serial killers. But I hadn't bungee jumped. I didn't know anything about it. So I learned, and there you go. I'm in Japan. While I was in Japan, I would go to the gym. And my first few weeks at the gym, nobody would talk to me because I'm this big American. And they're these tiny Japanese people, and they don't even know if I speak Japanese, so no one would talk to me. And finally, about 2 weeks in, this guy comes up to me, and he goes, hello. He couldn't even say hello properly.
Yeah.
He said, hello. And I said, hello. And then I started speaking Japanese to him. And he's like, whew, I'm glad you speak Japanese because I was done at hello. We became friends, and he was a big rig driver in Japan. He drove the big trucks. And he came to me one day at the gym and he says, I want to quit driving truck and start importing camping trailers and Ford and Dodge diesel pickups into Japan. Will you help me? I didn't know how to do it. I kind of thought he did, and I said yes. Turns out we really didn't know how to do it, but we learned as we went.
Yeah.
We've been doing that since 1997.
Which
Is that before you were born?
1997, I was born a year before.
A year before. So almost before you were born, I started doing that, and I still do it to this day.
That's amazing.
And it was because I said yes to an opportunity that came across my path.
Amazing.
And so I like I said, anything that comes across my desk, across my life, I always say, can I monetize it? If I can, how? And then I take it one step further. Okay, I can. Do I want to do it? And so that's what I've done all my life. It's like this because when you're an entrepreneur, when you're working for yourself, there's no guaranteed checks coming in. You have to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way that I've been, but I've had really good years and I've had slim years, but the thing that's always constant is I'm free to do what I want within reason. I mean, I have to get the work done, but I don't have to go into and punch a clock.
Yeah.
No one's telling me when I need to be there, except me. Tell me when to be there. And that's been a blessing in my life because I don't know if I could go punch a clock. That would be tough.
Yeah, wow. Amazing. Thanks for sharing your stories. And I think there's a whole lot of things to learn in there within that. Yeah, as an entrepreneur, nothing is certain. There's a whole lot of uncertainty here and there. But the fact that when you embrace everything that comes to you with the ability of saying, can I monetize this? That actually changed the game from compared to more like when you just sit idle, no preparation, not willing to jump at anything. That is a whole lot. So what mistake do people commonly make when choosing a side hustle?
The biggest one is you choose the wrong one. So a lot of people, a lot of coaches, like side hustle coaches, they lure you into them to get you to sell their stuff. Whether it's a network marketing company or whatever it is, they lure you in and then they have an agenda to take you down a path. I say the number one mistake people make is they choose the wrong thing. And it doesn't have to be something you like. So I tell people you need to ask 3 questions. I do this naturally where anything that comes across my path, I ask the question. For people who don't, to try and get them to start thinking like me, I tell them you need to ask 3 questions. What do you like to do? And you need to write everything down. Like I was telling you, when preparedness and opportunity meet, you have to take action or nothing will happen. And so you have to start taking those first steps, and that's always the hardest part. People starting they're worried about failure, they're worried about what people will think, they're worried about different things that they need to just put their blinders on and take the first few steps. And once they start to feel a little bit of success, a little bit of movement, then that makes it just that much easier to keep going. And so action, once they recognize the opportunities, now you have to take action. I'm going to share another story real quick. When I was in Japan, 1994, that's when I took the bungee jump to Japan. I was walking around and there are these huge nets, and I'm like, what are these? It was called F1. It was a driving range for golf, and it was amazing. They were all mechanical. This is back in 1994. The ball would come up out of the ground already mounted on the tee, and you just swung and hit. It'll sink back down, another ball came up. And I'm like, this is amazing. I need to take this to America. And so once again, I started doing my investigation about how much money it would take, and the zeros were just too big. And so when I say zeros, it was too much money for a young kid.
Yeah, I understand.
And so I didn't take any action. But if I would have done that, there is a thing in America now called Top Golf. that is the equivalent of this F1 that I saw in
Yeah.
Japan in 1994. Makes really good money. How different would my life be
Yeah.
if I did that? But because I didn't take action.
Yeah, amazing. Action is very, very key. And thanks a whole lot for the opportunity or preparation you gave us earlier on that. Yeah, what do you like to do? What do you need to do? And what are you already doing? In that there can be opportunity later all around that if you get kind of a look inward and make the most of what the current situation is. That was really amazing. So for someone starting out today, what is the first practical step towards financial independence?
So they need to find those opportunities that are all around them. So we go back to what you just said. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? And then you need to pick one and take action. Pick the one that seems to fit best in your life and your lifestyle. If you don't have a mentor, find a mentor who has done what it is you want to do. And listen to him. Don't listen to people that aren't doing it. You know, I have Uncle Joe down the road that says, that's not going to work. He's not doing it. Don't listen to him. My Aunt Sally over here on Facebook, she says I'm crazy. You probably are crazy, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work. In order to do this stuff, you got to be a little bit crazy and a little bit brilliant.
Yeah, so true. Because even entrepreneurship is being crazy. Because it's actually crazy. Just more like living your whole life to your own terms, and the fact that you don't even know what unfold the next day. So entrepreneurship is a whole lot. You got to be crazy for you to step out.
You do.
So yeah, that is really amazing. So when setback hits, what's mindset shift help you to keep moving forward?
You know, and that's a good question because even when I was getting my leg cut off, my friends and family, they all told me, how do you have such a good attitude? How can you go through this and be happy and tell jokes? I mean, I would tell jokes all the time. And I even have a shirt. I have a shirt that says, quit pulling my leg because it'll come off. Are you familiar with the meaning of quit pulling my leg? Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the meaning.
So it means quit joking with me, and so you say I'm just pulling your leg. So with when you say quit pulling my leg, because my leg will pull off, my leg comes off. I mean, I can show you right now. My leg comes off. See, it even matches my shirt. And so I went through this with a great attitude, and people were just like, how do you do it? And I just fill my mind with good things. I fill my mind with good videos, listening to people like you, podcasts that are out there. I rely on, so I call myself the Side Hustle Samurai because I believe the Bushido Code is a great guardrail, a great code to go by even in business. And so I just use these good things that come to me that I put in my mind to help me overcome the things that happen. And then I've probably never thrown this out, and then trusting in your God, your higher power, and asking for help. And asking for the blessings.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's really amazing. I think having positive attitude is very, very key. When setback hits and when things go as planned, it's really a whole lot. It's not just encouragement for you alone. It encourages a whole lot of persons around you. That it would have been easier for them to get depressed, being that Bart's leg is being amputated. Their disposition would have been very, very awkward. But being that you're cheerful, you even crack joke around it. It make light of the situation, and it's really lovely.
Well, and so when I was getting my leg cut off, I had a good attitude because I expected the best to happen. After I had my surgery, I joined a couple of Facebook groups that were for amputees, and if I had joined them before my surgery, I don't think I would have had as good of an attitude because there's 10,000 people in there showing you all the things that happened that went wrong. And so I didn't feed that stuff in my head. And so in my mind, everything was going to work just perfect. Yeah. And everything did because I didn't see that stuff. I'm just like, after it was over and I started seeing this stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm lucky.
That's really amazing. It's a whole lot. What will be your final words to my audience?
So there is a story called Acres of Diamonds. It's about have you heard the story?
No, I have.
So it's about a Persian farmer that sold his farm and he went in search of diamonds. He died broke, alone, and he never found his riches. In my family, and then the person that bought his farm was watering his camel in a brook that ran through the property, and he looked down, and in the water there was this strange rock. Turned out it was a diamond. The guy that owned his farm, that bought his farm, owned acres of diamonds in what was Ali Hafed's backyard. So my family, we have a similar story. It's called Acres of Pig Poop. Like I said, I grew up in a small town on a pig farm. There were more pigs than people in our town. At any one time on our farm, there was probably 17, 18, 19,000 pigs.
Wow.
That many pigs creates a lot of pig poop. We had these 3 man-made ponds that we would divert the pig poop into, the sewage. They were settling ponds. One year they would go here. Next year they'd go here. The next year they'd go here. My dad, when he got in his mid-60s, he decided it was time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next acres of diamonds. At 81, he passed away. He never found his next big opportunity, the next big thing. We sold the farm 2 years later for $285,000, which was a fair price for the property at that time. 6 months later, the new owners of our farm were leveling the man-made ponds, making them flat, and the heavy grader, the heavy equipment that was going across these ponds, broke through the crust, the dry part, sunk up to its belly in this black liquid muck. They called in experts to analyze the stuff. Right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for this stuff. The farm that we sold for $235,000 is now worth over $1 million. 500 tons of old pig poop was acres of diamonds right under my dad's nose. So for your audience, for your listeners, what about you? Where are your acres of diamonds? Are you right on the verge of discovery? Are they right there within your grasp? Or are you overlooking them like Ali Hafed and my dad? Guys, they're right in your own backyard, right there within your grasp, right there under your nose. And they may even look like a pile of pig poop. So don't overlook what is right there that you could turn into a stream of income. That is my closing message.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. This is really amazing. Thank you for leaving us with such a powerful advice. So for those who want to connect with you and who want to kind of reach out to you about what you do, how can they reach out to you and where's the best platform?
So I have a free gift that I'm offering. It's the 1K blind spot assessment. So the $1,000 blind spot assessment. It's going to show you your strengths, and it's going to reveal the blind spots that you need to take a look at. And you can get that at youridealsidehustle.com. It'll take you 10 minutes, and it'll reveal your good spots, and it'll point out what you need to take a look at to focus on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Definitely, I'll put that under the show notes so that my audience can dive into it. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you so much for this particular episode, and thank you for the load of insights you teach out. It reminds us that financial security is not about luck. Hello, take actions before life forces the lessons. If this episode challenged you and how you think about income and opportunity, share it with someone who needs a new perspective. And thank you for listening to the Making of Me podcast. It's really amazing having you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.